Today in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus tells his disciples that the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed. That's an interesting image. The mustard seed, although I've never ever touched one, seen one, I'm told is a small round seed, and it's only about 1 to 2 millimeters in size. That's from Google. This seed, as insignificant as it seems and appears, will expand, and it will take root, and eventually it will grow a large bush that reaches high and allows, as we heard in the gospel, the birds to find shade in it, but it also gives shade to the weary traveler in the desert. In our modern society today, where we live in a culture that really values big and impressive. Big Mac, big whatever. It's bigger, the better. And we really, is part of our culture today to look at things that are big and impressive. And so the small mustard seed might remind us of something very important, that small things still matter. That small things can teach us a lot. And certainly that's what's included in the parable today. A word of love or support to a spouse may appear to be a small thing, but very important. A few moments to affirm a son or daughter about something they're good at or something that they have achieved may sound like a little thing, but means a lot to the child. A phone call to a friend who is grieving the loss of a loved one. Just a few moments on the phone can make a big difference in the life of that person. Or even a thankful smile instead of a vacant stare as we approach the cashier at Martin's. These little things matter. And Jesus is saying that out of little things, eventually it grows and we begin to create a very special world around us, a world that maybe has more goodness than we've ever noticed before. Several years ago, as I was a young priest here in the diocese, I was involved deeply in a lot in the migrant ministry of going to visit migrant camps all over the diocese. In one camp that I went to quite often, we had a tragedy that the father of one of the families there was killed in an automobile accident, and the family was left without him. And just a month later, they had to return to South Texas, to the Rio Grande Valley. And they didn't know what they're going to do. They've always had him to lead them and to take care of them. And so I had a long discussion with the wife, Maria. And I said, Maria, I'll volunteer to help you drive down. I know we have to take 2 vehicles down. You usually drove one and your husband the other. I can drive the other vehicle. The other vehicle was loaded with all kinds of gear that they needed, of course, for a long summer in Southwest Michigan. And Maria would drive with the babies and the younger children and grandma and grandpa in there. And so we began the journey, and I noticed once I kept saying to Maria, let me drive, Maria. You know, it's a long ways. You're going to get tired easily. We can switch somehow, but don't you drive all the time. And she did listen to me, and she kept driving and driving the whole way and ended up getting there all the way. And I asked her, I said, Maria, why? Why didn't you let me help you? And she says, it wasn't anything against your driving, Father. She said, I needed to show my children that we were going to go on, that we were going to make it, that we were going to get through this loss of their daddy. And I said, wow, what a powerful little message. Little things matter. And then that same trip, there was Grandpa, who absolutely drove me crazy. Grandpa had been a migrant farm worker all of his life, and he was always in charge. He could drive, He could pack, he could do everything, but suddenly he aged, couldn't drive anymore. And so every time we stopped for gas or to get a bite to eat, Grandpa had to rearrange the luggage. And it would take us literally a half hour, 45 minutes. The same thing, tie up the same way, very secure, but Grandpa kept doing that and kept doing that. And I kept thinking, oh, Grandpa's gonna drive me nuts. And then finally, it dawned on me. He needed to feel that he was still important. He needed to feel that he was still important. And I said to myself, shut up, Bob. You know, he is showing his family that he still has something to give, if it's only retying and tying again and again the same load. Another part of that trip, it was this first morning that we woke up or we were driving and we stopped over for something, and I was checking in the back and there was a little baby back there in a baby carriage. And I opened the gate to the back of the vehicle, and that baby gave me the biggest smile in the whole world. Unbelievable. I just wish I could explain it better, but it was just a warm smile. And I couldn't help but thinking to myself, I know the child wasn't thinking this, but to me it was sort of saying, you know, we're gonna make it. Thank you for being in there and to help our family. It's just a special moment, a little thing, but that smile made that whole adventure worth every minute of it. And then when we finally got to the valley, we got to their home, and the electricity was turned off. And I don't know if you've been in the Rio Grande Valley, but it's easily 100 plus every day. And the house had been not being used for 3 months and no air conditioning. It was infernal inside that house. And their power was off, so they couldn't put it on. And what really impressed me was there was a young lady, she was probably about 13, one of the daughters. And she immediately took over. She knew her mother was tired. So she immediately took over. She started arranging things and making sure the baby was okay, and then cleaning the table and dusting. And within an hour and a half, she had everything really kind of looking good. It was a very uncomfortable night, sleeping there with over 100 degrees. But it also said to me, Bobby, you're blessed. You're blessed. And so sometimes it's the little things that I think can remind us of truly blessed we are and how God can work through little things and create wonders on his own. And so as we reflect on this beautiful gospel today, let us be seeds of Christ in the lives of others. Let's not be afraid to enter into the dirt and the soil of troubled people that may be around us, and allow that seed of Christ's presence to grow so that out of it will flourish flowers, and will flourish branches that will bring hope to those that are grieving. And so today we just ask the Lord to help us to really be those instruments that help the seed of God, the kingdom of God, to be born amongst us.